some sort of subversion. How do these wealthy, influential people who should be highly intelligent get so easily subverted by an Epstein?
I think with Epstein, it's not racism, it's about bloodlines. So if you are part of that circle of people, like the top elite, okay, you're really concerned about bloodlines. And the reason why is that you need to explain in your mind why you have all this power, all this money. Because objectively, Bill Gates has like billions of dollars, right? So he's like 1,000 times wealthier than us, normal people. But he's like 1,000 times smarter? Probably not.
Mhm.
And he sort of understands that, okay? So one thing that they're trying to look at is my bloodline different? Do I come from a race of the divine, right? Am I an ancestor of Hercules or Achilles, right? Because back in the Greek world, kings claim a divine bloodline where, their mother was raped by Zeus, or maybe their father was Hercules, a son of Zeus. So for the elite, bloodline is very, very important. And they're constantly proving that how they're descended from like the most powerful people, emperors, right? So if you look at Epstein's emails, one thing that he was very obsessed with is family heritage, where he was having a conversation with Arende de Rothschild, uh, who was a member of the Rothschild family. And one thing that he told her is, look, there were three families that were very powerful in Europe, Jewish banking families. They were the Rothschilds, the Epsteins, and the Gutmans. And we built a shelter, and Hitler lived in the shelter for a long time. And he was obsessed with this heritage of his, proving to himself and to others that the Epsteins is one of the most powerful families in the world. They're part of the Illuminati. They're up there with the Rothschilds. So this is what the elite is just obsessed with, proving to themselves in the world that they're just divine,
Mm.
and that's why they rule. Because it's not because of their brilliance, it's not because of their ability, it's not because of their leadership skills. It's because they're divine. Their blood is just different from ours.
Hi, my loves. Welcome back again to my YouTube channel. It's so good to have you. Thank you so much for clicking when you saw these videos. So I came across these videos and I'm like, who exactly are they even trying to erase or something? Where? How? See, the truth remains that the elite, okay, actually are obsessed with black folks. Forget it. That is what it is. They are literally very much obsessed with them, but they try as much as possible to paint it like, oh, they are always the ones doing this, and they sow this seed of decoy in the heart of their people, and it make it look like they are the best. Like they sell this whole thing, this whole mindset, this whole race card thing in their mind, and they grow with it. The worst part of it is that if you actually look at a 1 year old who happened to be a white folk, you'll be so shocked. So I live in a highly dominated white environment, right? Country, right? And one day we went to the mall. I have a 1 year old, and there was this other 1 year old playing around the mall, and she was actually playing with the mom. Immediately she saw my daughter, she ran to hug my daughter. My daughter actually embraced her. So I and the mom literally had to sit down and watch them do their thing. So I just, because they're children, I literally sat down to watch them do their thing. And it got to me, I'm like, these children know nothing. Now, before that incident happened, there was another child. Okay, my daughter was literally running to the child to go embrace. She's just 1 year. Okay, so she was running with her elder sister. They were playing around the mall, right? So they were running. I was behind them walking. I saw how the mother of this other child was literally standing. I was in shock. I was in fear for a 1 year. was telling my husband we'll go home, and he was like, how can she be that scared? I'm like, why are they scared? Like, she was scared. She doesn't know if she should hold her child. She doesn't even know she was literally scared. You could feel it within her. And immediately I had to try to stop my child. Her own child had to come to hold my child. And I looked at her, I was like, she just looked at me like this. She frowned at me. I had to take my child. Like, I beg, let's be going, because you literally know who likes what is happening and who doesn't. But the child was really, so because both of them are almost same age and they wanted to do their thing. And I'm a mom. I just leave my children embrace people and not like embrace everybody. I'm saying children, like, and I had to take my child. They were playing. It was next to a park, like a park for children. So it was really, really close. We're just playing around there. When that thing happened, I just learned something. I learned that there's nothing you can literally take away from these people. They start sowing this seed very early on time. And when people share this story with you, that's exactly what it is. Well, let's take a look at the few videos I've gathered for you guys, then I'll come back with more. Let's go watch.
Jeffrey Epstein sent this, like the Pope article, now reading how God exercised improper power dynamics with the Virgin Mary, no consent. Jeffrey Epstein learned it from God, and so did we. Every victim in the Epstein file is the Virgin Mary, and not because they are pure and innocent, but because we've been taught that their body's pain doesn't count. Christianity's inability to sit with the troubling complexity of Mary's story has made it a training manual for how to not see grape, how to erase what happens to women's bodies, how to only count the suffering that doesn't threaten male power. This is the pattern that founded this country. The founding fathers raped and had children with enslaved black children. Jefferson with Sally Hemings was 14, about the same age as Mary when she conceived Jesus. One story we call holy, and the other one complicated, a relationship, a liaison, anything but what it actually is. Epstein didn't invent anything. He just carried on the torch. In 2013, Epstein commissioned this investigation into the origin of the Little St. James Island, which becomes the Epstein Island, to see if he can change the official name. The research came back and it was named after the relative of Virgin Mary, and he started calling it the Little Saint Jeff. 5 years later, he sent that text. He was studying Mary's lack of consent while enacting what happened to Mary on the island bearing her family's name. This wasn't just passive cultural conditioning. It was conscious theological engagement. Where did he learn that a powerful man impregnating a young girl, especially one with no legal personhood, no ability to refuse, could be anything but grape? He learned it from Mary. We learned it from Mary. That when the man is powerful enough, important enough, chosen enough, what happens to her body can be called sacred destiny, participating in something larger than herself. This theological template for accepting predation became the template for political power, oligarchical power, and all of these systems required us to believe that certain men's access to certain bodies is just part of the natural order. The Bible was written by men in a world that treated women's and girls' bodies as available to male power. Whether the authors intended to justify the systems or portray the systems or simply could not imagine anything else, the effect is the same. We inherited Epstein's textbook, the sacred text that teaches us not to see violation as violation if the man is powerful enough. This is a 12 to 14-year-old girl impregnated by God who says, "Let it be done unto me," when the power dynamic is a child versus the entire cosmic order. This surrender to overwhelming force is what we call holy. This is how we've theologized predation, as sacred, as inevitable as the way things are. Her impregnation is this floating signifier of receptivity to male power, no matter earthly or divine. The only good woman whose body is untainted by sex and yet has evidence of sexual activity is Mary. And yet she experiences no sexual pleasure throughout her life because she has to remain perpetually virgin. Her pain, her tearing, her recovery from labor is fully erased. This mother of sorrows, her only acceptable suffering is emotional, watching her son die at the cross. And even then, at the cross, Mary is silent, sorrowful, and contained. What if she screamed and refused to make meaning, refused to witness silently, demanded that this shouldn't have happened to her body? And then there's the assumption where Mary doesn't even get to die. Her body just disappears entirely. What would Mary's story be if it was written by a woman? What world can we build if a young girl's body isn't required for the human and divine to meet? This isn't rejecting Mary. It is seeing her and asking, what happened to her body? What did pregnancy feel like at 13? What did childbirth do to her? Where is her rage, her fear, her bodily autonomy? Skipping over the body to get to the meaning, the redemption of every story of violation is how we learn to tell survivors that their suffering should have a purpose, that they should heal in ways that make us comfortable, that they should turn their violation into inspiration. Accepting that power dynamic wholesale, divine over human, enslaver over enslaved, billionaire over teenager, is how we learn as a society that women's bodies don't register pain for themselves, only for others. That we are only here to watch, to witness, to never be angry, to help erase the injustice done to us. This is why we ask victims, are you pure enough? Did you resist enough? Were you too knowing, too complicit? Did you also say, let it be done unto me? The files are out, but can we see what's in them when we've been trained for 2,000 years not to look at women's bodies at all? Do we still know how to look? I am Connie Chen, here to help you deconstruct everything.
I talked to my wife about why Jeffrey Epstein was doing what he was doing. Like why are they doing this? Because like it's disgusting. And her explanation makes the most sense. So, I mean, my wife, she's not from a powerful family, but she grew up in a very powerful organization. And from her early age, she's dealt with powerful people, okay? So she knows what they're like, okay? And she explained to me how they are, okay? So the powerful people are usually born into a position of privilege. And if you're like that, there's no excitement in your life. There's no challenge. It's only just privilege. And privilege is boring, it's numbing, okay? So for them, the greatest challenge is how do you find excitement? How do you stir a feeling in your heart in this world? Her explanation is you do it for children, okay? Why? Well, first of all, it's like having a doll, right? A doll you can play with, a cat you can play with, but children are much more exciting. You can play with them, you can control them, you can manipulate them, you can abuse them. And the other thing is that you can scare children much more easily, okay? So, there's conspiracy theory where the elite draw energy from adrenochrome, okay? And adrenochrome, okay? And adrenochrome is just, blood that is excited, blood that comes from fear, okay? And so you drink that blood because this blood is rejuvenating. Well, that's a metaphorical statement where as a powerful person and you see a child in fear, that excites you. That excites you both sexually and psychologically and emotionally. And so, you have seen these videos of like Prince Andrew just running around and grabbing children. And he was like really, really excited, really, really happy when he's doing that. And the reason why is that's the only thing that can bring him excitement. Another example is a Squid Game. I'm not sure if you've seen the Netflix series, The Squid Game, right? The entire premise of the Squid Game is you have all these rich people in South Korea, and they have like the most money in the world. They can do whatever they want. They can like sleep with the most beautiful movie star in the world. They don't want to do that because it's boring. Okay, they're looking for some excitement in their life, and that's why they create the Squid Game. All right, so the Squid Game is just a metaphor for Epstein Island, where these people are bored, man. They're bored by everything. They're bored by their own lives. They're bored by the people around them because they're all psychopaths. They're bored by power itself because they've experienced it all, and so like they're looking for like novelty in their lives, and that's what children bring. Okay, there's also, and it's like, why are they so blatant about this? And my wife says it's psychology, where you have to have a risk of getting caught. You have to have the risk of being exposed in order for this to be exciting, okay? If it's all just hidden from everyone and no one can ever find out and there's no risk, it's not funny. It's not fun anymore, right? So I understand this sounds really disturbing, but unfortunately, if you give a certain group of people too much power, then this is the way they behave. And this has been true historically, okay? You look at any society. In China, guess what, guys? We do the same thing. All right, don't think that Chinese are more superior because of Confucianism. Don't think that the Indians are superior because of their Vedic tradition. No, everyone's the same. If you put people in positions of power, they're going to abuse it. All right, and what they want ultimately is novelty, excitement, feeling. All right, so like just you and me, we feel a tremendous rush when we achieve something. Well, they've achieved it all. So they need the sort of like sadistic, satanic rituals in order to feel alive again. Look, the other thing that is not being in the Epstein files, but I'm sure there's lots of them, are snuff films. Okay, I'm sure there's lots of these things because that's what they do. And just recently, the United States, called the Department of Justice, they released about 3 million documents. And what they discover is that he knows everyone who's powerful in the world. Bill Gates. Once, before the wealthiest man in the world, he was begging Jeff Epstein for money. Elon Musk, the wealthiest man in the world, he's actually trying to arrange an appointment with Jeffrey Epstein. All right, why? Because Jeffrey Epstein says, I represent the Rothschilds. All right, your money is fake. Your money is stock market money. Your money is an illusion. I represent real money, real power, real wealth. Okay? These are parasites. They look at geopolitics and they're like, how can we take advantage of geopolitical events to make the most money for ourselves? So what's happening is a civil war between the elite, these people, and the counter-elite. People who want to take the position and become the parasites. Okay? And that's why we're seeing this conflict right now emerge in America. Okay? All right. So now what I want to do is I want to go more into the structure of this world. Okay? This. What I want to show you is that Jeffrey Epstein is one of the operators of the system. He works for the Rothschilds, as well as secret societies, as well as social capital, and he is embedded in science, crime, and intelligence, okay? And again, the evidence is something called the Epstein files. All right, so let's look at the Epstein files. Okay, so this is Jeffrey Epstein, and this is Donald Trump. All right, Jeffrey Epstein died in 2019 in a federal prison. And he was being charged with many crimes, and the FBI ran an investigation into him. And just recently, the United States, called the Department of Justice, the DOJ, on their website, they released about 3 million documents pertaining to the Epstein investigation. And a lot of these are emails. And what you discover is that he knows everyone who's powerful in the world. So for the longest time, it was believed that Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad agent, okay? And his job was to lure powerful Americans such as Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, to his island called Epstein Island, where he would film them engage in compromising activities. And then he would blackmail them, okay? And that was, for the longest time, what people understood to be Jeffrey Epstein's role. But then when you look at the emails, what you recognize is that no, actually, that's what he did for fun. Actually, he made most of his money in arms trafficking and in money laundering. Also, Bill Gates wasn't going to Epstein Island to give Jeffrey Epstein money. Jeffrey Epstein, he went to ask for money. Think about this, okay? Bill Gates, once before the wealthiest man in the world, he was begging Jeffrey Epstein for money. Think about that. All right? Okay, so let us look at who he is. Okay, this is Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel, as you know, is one of the wealthiest men in America. And Peter Thiel and Jeffrey Epstein are arranging a time to meet. Again, it's not Jeffrey Epstein seeking these guys out, they're seeking him out, okay? Elon Musk, the wealthiest man in the world, he's actually trying to arrange an appointment with Jeffrey Epstein. All right, why? Because Jeffrey Epstein says, I represent the Rothschilds. All right? Your money is fake. Your money is stock market money. Your money is an illusion. I represent real money, real power, real wealth. Okay? All right? The Rothschilds. All right. So Jeffrey Epstein is very close with the Rothschild family. Why? Well, this is Irena de Rothschild, one of the members of the Rothschild family. Okay? And in December 2018, okay, this is a year before he dies. All right? Jeffrey Epstein sends Irena de Rothschild an email saying, hey.
Has anyone even looked at Jeffrey Epstein's background story? Because I have. And it does not add up. Picture this. 1976, you have a college dropout teaching physics at one of the most prestigious schools in Manhattan. And 2 years later, he gets picked up by Bear Stearns, one of the largest investment banks at the time. It's not an internship, it's not an analyst position. He goes straight to the trading floor. Talk to anybody on Wall Street. This kind of thing does not happen. And 4 years after that, he becomes limited partner. He must be the fastest partner track promotion in the history of Wall Street. 4 years today in investment banking, you're barely out of your analyst years. And as if All of that was not enough. He quits the position a year later to do consulting. There are much meagerly paid VPs out there who have golden handcuffs. And this guy, an option trading prodigy apparently, just leaves his job after a year? It's almost as if that was not his real job. Shortly after that, Epstein is wrapped up in one of the largest Ponzi schemes in US history, the largest before Bernie Madoff. And Epstein, despite being one of the key men in that operation, gets off scot-free. A few years later, he has his own advisory shop with one client. No audits, no employees, just Les Wexner, who gives him power of attorney over $1 billion worth of assets. He goes around buying $1 million mansions, 727s, and even private islands. Fast forward to 2007, he gets caught up in child abuse allegations. But Epstein and several other people involved get a secret plea bargain. If this was a TV show, we would say it's badly written plot armor. And this is just this guy's life before all the stuff we know him for. Why is it that nobody's raising questions about this? Because the only way this actually adds up is if Epstein is an intelligence operator. And that would mean somebody somewhere decided that all of this was worth.
I know how hard it is to actually live in a world where you are literally being whitewashed, one, and also everything around you has been whitewashed. Then you literally being looked at as the person who has the bad thing, like there's something around you that is not just so good. Okay, so let me give you guys a very big scenario. So I entered an Uber one day with my kids. Okay, the same day, funny enough, the same day we were coming back from the mall that has a park in it. So when we were coming back, we took an Uber, and on our way back home, this driver wind down our entire back seat. He wound it down and left his up. So he locked the car. You can't literally wind up. So I told him, sir, please, can you wind up? My daughter was still trying to wind up because it was literally cold. We were freezing. He looked at my child, my 6-year-old. I'm like, he spoke his language, and I told my daughter, calm down. So I had to tap him for him to understand what I was saying. I said, sir, please, can you wind up? It's cold. And he looked at me from his center mirror and removed his face and acted like he doesn't really understand what I'm saying. So it was a long journey back home. When we got home, my children, thank God I had like big sweater on, and they also had like a thick sweater on. So I had to cover my 1-year-old head, cover the other person's head, and let's just manage. So I held my 1-year-old, and that was how we got home. So when we got home, guess what? I wanted to give him a 1 star, okay, to literally tell him that what you did was BS. But I just ended up giving him 2 stars. My husband was so angry. He was like, why don't you give him 1 star and write a very bad comment there? And I'm like, there's no need for that. Okay, there wasn't a need for that. Okay, so these people have been sown, like the seed they have sown in them. Is it the one that we actually stopped? We got an Uber. I was carrying my 1-year-old, and Uber said I had to wear a seatbelt at the back. I'm like, I can't wear a seatbelt here. Why do I need to wear a seatbelt? Like, this is not my first time entering an Uber. I'm not sitting in front, I'm sitting behind, and I'm carrying a baby. And he said I must wear a seatbelt. Guess what? We got down. He told us that we should leave his car. So we left the car. We said if I'm not going to put the seatbelt on, then I should leave the car. We just came down from the car. So when we got down from the car, guess what he did? He drove and refused to cancel the ride so that it would look like he's still carrying us, until we had to report to Uber. Then they made him to reverse the money. He has gotten to his destination. Like, the destination wasn't so far, but because I had kids on, I couldn't walk it, so I had to order an Uber. This man drove to the destination to take that money from me, and Uber had to now tell him to reverse it. We're literally having like banter. Oh my God, it's just so much to share about when you live in palm colored neighborhood. Oh my god, you don't even want to know the stories behind it, especially when you look like myself. So now I'm understanding what exactly Black Americans have been going through for decades living in America. And when they talk about it, so many people be like, oh, you guys are not just the only person. Oh, you guys get over it. This is just so bad. Get over it. It's all in the past. We have nothing to do with it. But your elites have a lot that they have sown in your heart. They have sown in the heart of your great-grandparents. Your great-grandparents have sown in the heart of your grandparents. You know, it has gone from generation to generation. Only if you guys can actually tell yourself the truth. There are just so many things you have heard about people that looks like myself that will make you, even to allow your child to get married to someone that looks like me. Be like, no. No, okay. If people share their story on how getting married to a palm-colored family, okay, as someone that look like myself, you will be so shocked. You will literally be shocked how it happened. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it here, you guys. You know how we do it. Drop your own take in the comments. Let's continue this conversation in the comment section. I really love to read from you guys. Credit belongs to original creators of these videos. Please do to drop your take, like, share, subscribe, you know, do everything. Turn on your notification if this is your first time on this channel, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you so much guys for watching, and credit to all creators on this video. Thank you guys, and see you all next time. Bye my loves.